Hey everyone, welcome on Women Dialogues channel, and I'm your host Shashi. And today we have with us a very passionate woman for making an impact, Miss Susan Ganz, and she is joining us from New York, United States. So welcome, Susan Ganz.
Thank you so much, Shashi. I'm so excited to be with you today.
So, Susan, as you founded GAN's Strategic Solution, and you work as a chief of staff and business strategist, you work with senior level of executive on their organization for key strategic initiative to improve productivity and profitability. So, tell us all about your company. What is GAN's Strategic Solution? What kind of work and services your company provides?
Sure. Thank you so much for asking. So, I'll give everybody context of my company, and then what I'll do is also give my backstory to how I got to this
Yeah.
journey.
Yes.
So, what I do is I work with business leaders around their key strategic initiatives. I say I take them on a vacation of sorts because I free up their time and free up their mind share to focus on what they do
Mm-hmm.
best. So, what do I mean specifically? So, a couple of different use cases, if you will. So it could be a CEO that comes to me from a rapidly growing company, like a technology company.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they've been around for a couple of years and they find themselves going to the next stage of their growth. I say going from infancy to the adolescent stage, and they
Right.
find themselves needing to put in some more structure in the company, to put in some controls and management oversight to make sure that they're all aligned to
Mm-hmm.
reaching their key goals. And so what I do is I come in as a right hand person to understand what is the vision and the values associated with that company. I take the temperature where they are now, and then I help them to navigate and come up with a game plan to take them where they are to where they want to go. So
Mm-hmm.
could be putting in some performance type of measurements or strategy, or it could be around how they're going to, take their engagement with clients further, or it
Right.
could be that they've grown so much as a company. How are you engaging the employees, going from a handful of employees to a couple of hundred employees in a very short amount of time?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I find that the CEOs are also reaching out because not only do they want to get their key strategic initiatives done, is they need
Mm-hmm.
to also protect their time. Because I
Mm-hmm.
find that particularly with these growing companies, sometimes the CEO is getting pulled into operational issues, and it
Mm-hmm.
might not really be their strong suit, and they really need to be the face of the company and working on their go to market strategies. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one use case.
Yeah.
Another type of situation that I typically tend to get called in on is
Mm-hmm.
relative to, let's say, more established companies,
Right.
and they're turning to me because they're stuck in some way. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get to the next level of growth, but they're not sure what's getting in the way, and they really
Right.
need an outside perspective to shine a
Mm-hmm.
light on potentially their blind spots or their obstacles, and really
Yeah.
be able to clear the roadblocks, to understand what's going on in their
Mm-hmm.
company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's there are a lot of definitely there are a lot of informative things, and your work is around businesses and companies, and I believe many of our audiences must be looking such kind of company or services to look further to develop their businesses. But how like you have worked in corporates many years, so how you started this all your company GAN Strategic Solution, how this idea came from, and what way, what kind of challenges, and what kind of strategy, as you are yourself a strategy specialist, and but how you reach on this point that yes, I need to start my own work.
Yes. So the journey started after college. So, really inspired by college, which was undergraduate, I studied clinical psychology. So, always curious about how, why people behave the way they do, and
Mm-hmm.
always wanting to bring out the best in people. And I married an analytical side of my brain with the people aspects of my brain, and
Mm-hmm.
decided to go into business and having that psychology background. And
Mm-hmm.
after college, I did commercial lending and worked with CEOs and CFOs of mid-sized companies.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that work, what I found is how lonely it is at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in addition to the C suite there sharing about their financing needs, they would share other issues and things that were going on in their companies.
Right.
So, I I decided that, well, I just don't only want to impact the financing piece. I want to solve broader problems for these
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
individuals and companies. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to go to business school, studied strategic management and finance to be able to career change to consulting. And
Mm-hmm.
after business school, I went on to do corporate finance consulting and strategy consulting. So I got to sell companies, I got to do growth strategies and marketing strategies. And I was always curious about what was next for those companies, because after I
Yeah.
sold a company, I was
Mm-hmm.
always wondering about, how did those merged companies work together? Right?
Yeah.
That's where all the
Mm-hmm.
complexities come into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or after I made a recommendation for a strategy, I knew that it was being implemented, but I didn't know how the implementation process was going or what was the
Mm-hmm.
next stage in that particular company's growth. So I
Yeah.
decided to pursue an opportunity to be able to impact one company and its strategy over time. Got an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to go work on Wall Street in a technology area of all
Mm-hmm.
places.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hired because of that strategy and finance background.
Yeah.
And initially, I did a strategic vendor management role,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then got hired internally by one of my internal clients, which was the investment banking group, to be
Yeah.
their eyes and ears in developing technology solutions to support their business. And in
Mm-hmm.
doing that work, what I discovered is that it's not about the technology so much, it's really about the people adapting to change,
Mm-hmm.
is we were putting in new systems which required new processes. And
Mm-hmm.
you are familiar that human beings don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
embrace change, right? Because
Yeah.
we're wired to be safe and small. um, and so quickly realizing that I would work
Mm.
with the key stakeholders in all these different projects
Yeah.
to get them aligned, to really hear what they had to say about these initiatives and to address their concerns
Mm-hmm.
and fears. And that led to successful project implementations, even though I didn't have the formal training in technology.
Yeah. But like Susan, along with that, like you have touched about like you have worked priorly in corporates as you have worked with major companies such as like JP Morgan Chase and Ernest Young and some of like Merrill Lynch, Credit Suisse and Mass Mutual and Prudential and many more, this finance kind of uh, majority of those companies are from finance background. So as you work with them as a strategic planning or implementation change management or project management or financial analyst, and in the current scenario when we are talking about such big names of corporate world, what is your basic observation as a strategic management point of view? What is the best business strategy is required to bring those businesses up?
So the biggest thing to me is a process around understanding what's the vision for the company and getting very clear about those vision and values, because
Mm-hmm.
that becomes your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I find sometimes people want to run to tactics and doing things, but sometimes we are doing things that might not be fully in alignment with
Mm-hmm.
what's the true vision and values of the
Mm-hmm.
company.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find that a lot of the times it's getting clarity on that, and also it's the mindset of the C suite, particularly the
Mm-hmm.
CEO,
Yeah.
because they also they have to believe in themselves and in their companies, and
Yeah.
sometimes we get in our own ways. And
Mm-hmm.
I think during the pandemic it's been particularly challenging for
Yeah.
CEOs,
Yeah.
and those that have been more um, successful during this time is because they've been um, able to open their minds to doing things differently. And we're all on a journey in this. There's no right
Mm-hmm.
or wrong, but some
Yeah.
people have gotten further along in their journeys in embracing change.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Like embracing changes and going further along with that is keeping their business alive and same way productive. And at same time, like as you said, you worked in leadership and business strategies, and your work has been quoted in very renowned places like New York Times, Forbes, and Wall Street Journal. Uh, about your leadership expertise and point of view, uh, what kind of best leadership technique those c-suite or ceos you know uh, have to carry along with this mindset, any particular suggestion or those for business leader or upcoming entrepreneurs or to develop that kind of business in current scenario.
So I think there's a couple of things. At the core of it is really emotional intelligence. So
Hmm.
it's about being self aware and managing your own emotions, and
Yeah.
also being aware of those around you, whether that's your colleagues, your clients, your
Hmm.
vendors, and then on the personal side, of course, your family and friends. And then how do you foster those relationships? Then I think
Hmm.
the biggest thing that I've taken away from my studies of psychology has been
Yeah.
about listening.
Hmm.
It's a skill that is, I think, underrated, underutilized. So I
Hmm.
think if we really took the time to slow down and listen to each other, there'd
Yeah.
be even better communication.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so true. So listen each other and work on your emotional part. Uh, that's really super, and it's very important. And like it's reminding me, like you are also mother of two daughters,
Yes.
and yeah. So how is it be like having your own company, taking care of your family and all?
Yes. So I'm going to tell you, it's always a juggling
Yeah,
act.
yeah.
I got some advice earlier in my career from um, somebody who headed up a business unit at one of the companies I worked for. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in terms of integrating your life and your work, think
Yeah.
about it like you're you're juggling three balls. He just said three. So one,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, is your professional life, and one
Mm-hmm.
is like family, friends, community, and the other
Yeah.
ball is yourself. He says
Mm-hmm.
at any one time there might be some more attention on one of those balls, but the
Mm-hmm.
idea is try not to drop them. Just keep them in motion.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've tried to keep things moving, so not stop, and it's not perfect. And
Yeah.
as somebody who's a recovering perfectionist, I've decided that I have to drop the, doing everything a
Yeah.
hundred
Uh-huh.
percent. And sometimes things require more attention. I mean, before
Mhm.
you and I met today, I had to deal with something relative to my daughter, and it took time of calling around and liaising with other parents,
Yeah.
and that's what needed to get done. And last night I did something for my in-laws, and and then, I think especially for women, we tend to take on a lot of different roles
Yeah.
in life. And you be a professional, you could be a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter-in-law, a community volunteer,
Yeah.
cheerleader for your family.
Yeah.
and
For your kids and family. Yes. Yeah. That's so true.
and and, and so I acknowledge that I have
Mhm.
these different roles.
Mhm.
And I also acknowledge that it's also important for me to take care of myself, because if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not going to be able to be present for all these different people in my
Yeah.
life. And that's a message I like to promote to my clients, both men and women, is that
Yeah.
importance of self-care.
Yeah, that's very important to know about self care and this juggling act, like managing all the aspects of your life while managing your self care and doing your professional achievement or your family task and all community and all these different roles, but while managing your self. That's unbelievable, and it seems like you're a great mom and super professional. That's
Thank
it.
you. I'm not perfect though, and that's okay.
No, I think we are not supposed to be perfect, as I believe always. Like if I'm perfect, there is a no chance of further learning for myself. So I don't want to call myself I'm perfect. No, I'm still learning because that
I
makes me,
like that.
yeah, that makes me keep on going on something rather than feeling no, I'm done. No, that's not the way I think like that. But definitely, I really like that concept of juggling three balls. That's very important for women especially. But same time, when you are dealing all these roles, so what kind of learning or things do you think as an experienced professional mother you would like to give to your children, or anyone should give to their children? Because many times it's kind of big concern for, I think, all of us, right?
Yes. So one of the things that's very important to me for my children is to eh, be a role model and to show them and demonstrate
Mm-hmm.
for them the art of possibility.
Mm.
That if you've identified things in your life that are important to you, you can intentionally pursue those activities and the things that bring you joy
Okay.
and that you want to make an impact with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been a core value for me. Like I've not said, oh, I have to be this one thing and I can't do anything else. I've reconciled the fact that I have these different roles in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
it was particularly important to me when I was president of the Financial Women's Association, which was in my volunteer life,
Wow.
like to show my daughters, like my older daughter, my younger daughter was too young and she couldn't to sit still, but my older daughter was in elementary school during the time that I was
Mm-hmm.
president. And she went to the meeting where I became president. She went to the meeting where was my outgoing speech, and it was very important for her to see that journey
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
to see that it's possible to be a mom. It's possible to be a professional. It's possible to be a leader in your community. It's also possible to do things that are fun,
Mm-hmm.
that these are just conscious decisions, and you make time for these things.
Yeah, that's so true, and that's really encouraging. I think many of women, they feel stuck. It's kind of very important to make them to realize, or make them to rethink that it is possible to have all these kind of things in your life, and same time giving those learning to your own kids. Like, yeah, things are like that. I think it is moreover keeping them connected, or making them realize this is the world look like. It's not like just one way or other way, right?
Yes, yes. And everybody does it differently, right? And there are different models. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that, I didn't know early on in my career. I just
Mm-hmm.
thought there was always just a step ladder, and that was the way you get ahead. But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, what I find is there's more of a winding path,
Mm.
and to embrace that there is more than one way
Yeah.
to be a professional and a parent.
Yeah, it's making me remind about your resilience, and like you have, and you are host of one of web show which is called REST. So what it is stand for? Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes. So it's a web show called REST. It stands for Resiliency and Empowerment Seminar Today.
Oh,
And I
wow.
launched it.
Mm.
Thank you. I launched it towards the beginning of the pandemic in 2020,
Mhm.
because I wanted to provide a way to give back. Right? I'm not a first responder, but how can I be a first responder? Where could I make a difference? And
Yeah.
that was for uh, small and mid-sized businesses and nonprofits. I feel these
Mm-hmm.
are the organizations who need support in increasing their visibility and getting their messages out there. So I created the show and the platform for
Mm-hmm.
leaders in those organizations to share more about themselves and their
Mm-hmm.
organizations, and
Mm-hmm.
also to put out some positive messaging, because
Mm-hmm.
I felt particularly early on in the pandemic that
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of negative messages being
Mm-hmm.
put forth. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to keep people in a positive frame of mind. So that
Yeah.
was the thinking.
Yeah. That's so true, because it reminded me myself, because when initially this pandemic started and people were fearful and a lot of things were going on, and same time it was altogether different, uh, in your home's environment, when kids are not having space to move around because their schools are shut down, it's everything online. So I myself said, okay, let's share COVID-19 and positive stories. We are doing something positive, how we are bringing in our life some joy and fun. So that's really mindful. I can say it's very nice, and thank you. It's like good platform to look forward for many of the people. Those are looking those positive stories, and looking some kind of positive listening. So I will definitely look forward to have that link to provide our audience. I would love to have that link. Please share with me. And it's really
Absolutely.
encouraging. So, Susan, before, uh, when we talk about your lot of experience about finances, business strategy, and all, a part of that, what other thing before finishing our Women Dialogue episode would you like to share with our viewers?
So thank you again for this opportunity. I think what's really important to reiterate for your listeners is to put themselves on their agendas. Uh,
Mhm.
I have a methodology, if you will, an approach that I call CPass, and I'll tell you what that stands for. So
CPass. Yeah.
The C stands for getting clear, on your
Mm-hmm.
vision and your values and your
Yeah.
goals. That's your foundation.
Yeah.
The P is for permission to put
Mhm.
yourself on your own agenda.
Yeah.
And I know that particularly women might have trouble with this one. So if it helps you, blame it on me. Said Susan Ganz said I need to put myself on my agenda. If that helps, go for it.
Yeah.
And A is about access. So
Mhm.
access to professionals and experts that can help guide you in your
Mhm.
business and in your life. So things like Shashi, your show, for example,
Mhm.
readings, articles, mentors. The first S in the CPass process or approach is about support.
Yeah.
So again, having a foundation
Mhm.
that is strong.
Mhm.
And um, the final S is about, surrounding yourself with your system of people. So the support is making sure that your personal, professional, and
Mhm.
financial worlds are in a good place. And the
Yeah.
final S is to know, don't go it alone, that
Mhm.
you can surround yourself with people who can help you
Right.
in your
Mhm.
success, having a personal board of directors, for example,
Yeah.
for all the
Mhm.
different aspects of your life.
Right. Yeah. I love that concept about CPass. So clear your agenda and having your, purpose and missions surrounded by the positive people and support group. That's like very, very powerful and very informative because it contains, in short, a lot of things which usually we all need. We all need that. We no need to feel like we are expert of that. We always need, even though we know this subject or not, but we always need support group. We always need people around us. Those can support in our personal and professional growth. So the C pass is definitely, I'm looking forward for the C pass to have in my life. Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
so powerful. That's so good. Thank you so much, Susan. It's so powerful. And one more thing I would like to ask: why do you think like women dialogue, like this kind of platforms, are so important?
So I think it's very important to have this dialogue, and I'm so grateful that you are doing this and giving voice to various women from around the world. I think the biggest thing is that sometimes people think that they're the only ones,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of loneliness and
Yeah.
isolation, particularly during the pandemic. And to
Mm-hmm.
hear different stories, I think what we tend to see in social media and the media in general is
Yeah.
everybody's highlight reel, right? They're not going to always reveal the
Mm-hmm.
struggles, the challenges, so they're
Yes.
having a bad day. And
Mm-hmm.
I think to have people share that, you know, everything's not perfect and there have been bumps along the way, and it's perfectly okay. And it's also okay to seek out support. There's nothing wrong with that. There's strength and vulnerability, as Brene Brown talks about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. That especially these in this current scenario, as you mentioned, and yeah, look for support, look for community, and accept your challenges and embrace it whatever way, because every one has something to share. Along with that, there's nothing, no reason to keep those way limelight, that positive, positive, goody goody, rather than share what way you are. That's what we call it, authenticity and authentic way of sharing your own story.
Yes.
That's so true, definitely. And once again, thank you so much, Susan, for being with us on Women Dialogue. But definitely, I would look forward to keep in touch with you. And I'm looking forward with your rest to listen more and to learn more. And I hope our businesses, entrepreneurs, they will definitely looking forward to get some of your advice. And can you share how, if they would like to get connect with you, what way they can get connect with you?
Sure, there's a few ways. And also, I want to offer to your listeners, if they are so inclined and want to have a conversation with me because maybe they are curious or something has resonated with them, I want to offer a complimentary 30-minute discovery session. And there are a few
Hmm.
ways you can get in touch with me. You can email me at Susan at gansstrategicsolutions.com. So that's Gans, Ganz, strategic solutions with an S at the end.com.
Hmm.
Or you can find me via my website, gansstrategicsolutions.com.
Let me repeat
There's
it. Gans solution, strategic solution.com. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
More information too could be found about my web show on
Yeah,
my
I will share in
website.
the description as well. I will share those description in the details and all. So definitely it would be helpful. And thank you once again, Susan. Thanks a lot. And that's it for today's episode. And thank you so much, all viewers. For more details, please check the description below. If you would like to get connected with Susan, the description are below as well. Thank you.